Hi, welcome back to McCarthy Performance. Today we'll be putting the oil pan on the 565 big block. Rods are all torqued up. Everything's been checked, double checked, triple checked. We're going to put a little bit of oil on the wrist pins. We're going to let it set this way for overnight and let the RTV set up before I roll it over. This is a special pan on this engine. It has an O-ring on it. Do them a little differently with that type of pan, but we'll get into that. I used the original OEM oil, the gaskets for this for the front cover and the rear main, and I use rubber cement on them, 3M. We used to call it Gorilla Snot. Um, so I'll show you how I did that without making a big mess. And we'll get it ready. I've got the oil pump shaft for this oil pump. The oil pump was taken apart, cleaned up. I always deburr this drive part of the pump. This one is all deburred, and I a long time ago had one that had a burr on it, and I just automatically deburr them now. Probably got a little carried away with that, but honestly, it's quicker for me to put some black compound on the buffing wheel. Excuse me, buffing wheel, and you know, buff up the edges. I hit it with a stone a little bit, and then I buffed it real quick. So we'll get going on this. So we took the pump apart, like I said, and went through it and deburred it a little bit and put it back together. We ran it just to see how it acted. It was a used pump. Well, it didn't have a lot of miles or hours on it, however you want to look at it. So we ran it with a tray with some oil to see what we were getting for oil pressure. I adjusted it a little bit, not much. So that should be ready to go on. Okay, now we're going to set the pan on, make sure we got some clearance between the bottom of the pan to the screen. Well, hopefully everything fits. And it appears it's got to come forward a little bit. And it don't fit. Snug fit. Yeah, it's almost all the way down. The gaskets are holding it up by about 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch on this side. So if we'll take that in consideration. going to come down 1/4 of an inch easily on this side. This side is up a little tiny bit, but probably not enough to worry about. We've got that much. We'll have probably 7/16, ½ inch off the bottom. That's good enough. So we're going to put the pan on now. So we got the pan back on the engine again, bolted it all the way down. Checked to make sure the rods cleared the tray in the bottom of the pan. And I checked the pan for depth. And what I did is I have an old Stanley square. I set that on the highest part of the stroke on the rod and at the highest point. And then off the pan rail. And then I checked the inside of the pan when it was off. So it's really close. But to have the tray effectively work, to be most efficient, let's say, it needs to be close. So I clamped everything down, put all the fasteners in it, turned the engine more than a couple times to make sure everything cleared. Everything looks good. So we've got a bead going down here and covering up the extra bolt holes that we didn't need for this particular pan. Some pans you need them, some pans you don't. A little bit across here, down here. Now you might have seen me put this pump on and said, well, you forgot to put the oil pump drive. You can drop the oil pump drive straight up through with this type of pump. Stock pumps, you cannot do that. So we'll put the pan on. We want to make sure these holes, these extra holes are getting filled up because we don't want to have a problem with any part of the O-ring possibly leaking. Piece of lint right there, got it. So that should be good. We're going to put the pan down. We're going to let that set for a few minutes. I'm going to oil up the wrist pins. They've been oiled. They have assembly lube on them, but I want to make sure that they get a shot again. So we're going to hit them. Try not to get any on the RTV, obviously. Usually if you let it run down the beam of the rod, it'll find home. So we got her oiled up really good, because I don't really know how long this engine is going to set before he fires it up. So I want to make sure it's good and lubed up. So we'll let that set. We'll put the pan on. Pieces of fuzz or goop or anything laying around in there that's going to be a problem. Everything's well oiled, everything's bolted together. We'll put the pan on now. It's a close fit. Well, hopefully she's on to stay on for quite a long time. So if you want to make life easier on yourself and you do these types of pans, you want one of these. In fact, I got a couple of them, because these are down in tubes, so if you drop a nut down in there, it ain't no big deal. You pick it up because they're in a tube, but the Moroso pans and some other pans, they're not in a tube. You drop a nut or a bolt down, or a nut down there, I'm sorry. You drop a nut down there, you're in deep doo-doo. So Moroso sells these, I believe. They got a magnet on them. They're nice to have. The ones with the AN caps on them without the tubes, what I usually do is I put the pan on like this, and then I rotate the engine, and then I put them on with the engine in normal operations position. That way it's less of a chance, because even with these, this has got a magnet end on it, you still can drop one in the pan. Ask me how I know. So we'll button this up. That's all it's going to be on this video. Thanks for watching. We'll be working on the intake spacers and cutting out the intake for the blower. That'll be the next video. Thank you.